Hey, I came in to tap in and let you know about God's grace on my life. About 7 years ago, I went through a traumatic experience. I lost my father to cancer. Um, that led to me going through roughly a 5 to 6 year depression. And through that time period, I will take you back and show you just some of the signs and some of the ways God revealed Himself to me during that time period, right? Um, Originally, before he passed, um, I had just got married to my wife a year before that, and I did know he was going to pass, but it was still a lot to wrap my head around at the time. Um, I just every time he'd have been sick, he had like two back surgeries and neck surgery. But every time he had surgery, been sick, he always bounced back stronger, still going to work. He was a carpenter. He used to build houses for himself. He had his own business. So, him being diagnosed with cancer, I just figured it was gonna be the same thing, same story. He beat everything else. I said, hey, shit, Pop's gonna beat this one too. It ain't nothing. Well, just so happened he didn't beat it this time. And right after he passed, between his brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters, we all kind of got into it about money, property, and my marriage at the time, because of everything that was going on, it started going downhill tremendously. I went into a depression. It's kind of like I was in a space where I was just in disbelief. God took him from me, and it's like I couldn't understand why God took him from me. So I questioned it, and I also got so mad at God that I cursed God. I rejected him in every way possible. And I just had made a vow to myself then, I'm just never gonna pray to God again about anything. And I got to that space because I did grow up in the church and all that. That was the background I came from. My dad was really in the church deep. But um, in my teenage years, my adult years, I never really prayed to ask God for anything. So it's kind of like, I was just praying for him to help my father shake back. He couldn't. He couldn't. Couldn't beat the cancer. And I just was like, I rebuked God at that point. I cursed him. I promised I would never follow him again. So what happened is, through that 5 year depression I went through, um, one of the events that happened that reshaped my life was, yes, I literally verbatim cursed him out of my mouth. Told him I'll never follow him, worship him, or pray to him again. Um, I was driving trucks over the road. I was driving in Texas, Oklahoma, and I was driving trucks in Louisiana. But at this time, I was stationed out in the oil field. I'm driving trucks in the oil field. So while I was driving trucks out in the oil field, basically, those that know with trucking, you really don't go home, and especially when you're in the oil field, you out there for weeks at a time. Pretty much you out there 3 or 4 weeks. So being out there working on the road, my depression just got worse. I started drinking every day. So basically, right after he passed, I damn near started drinking every day. About roughly a good, I guess, 3 or 4 years. Uh, with that being the case, I was on the road. Had a woman I was talking to at the time. It was just casual, fooling around, having sex, spending time with each other, seeing each other in there when we could. So, with that being the case, um, she came to see me at a hotel. Got a hotel out in Texas, right outside of Houston somewhere. She came through to see me or whatever. Um, at the time, going through a divorce, I'm depressed all the time, drunk, majority of the time, barely functioning day in and day out. My job seems like a million tons is on me. Um, I had got real fat, real heavy, real out of shape. My energy levels was completely low. Like I remember this point in time, barely even want to live, barely not even wanting to wake up day to day. Just everything was just heavy. Seems like unreal, right? So about the girl that came to see me at the hotel, she came to see me. We spent some time together, had some drinks, and I was drinking and we were smoking weed together. And in the process of smoking and drinking that weed together, I had a mental breakdown. She had to carry me back to the room. And while I was having this mental breakdown, I was crying. Everything. She helped me get me back to the room. Got back to the room, and I had just told her to leave because I was crying. I was in tears. I was talking to her bad. I was super disrespectful at that time because of everything that was going on, and I just told her to leave. And while I was in the hotel room, I started spitting up blood. Like I had drunk so much alcohol that basically at this point, like alcohol poisoning probably at this point. 'Cause I'm literally spitting up big pockets of blood, crying at the same time, and I remember feeling like, hey, I'm about to pass out. Like I'm out of it. Like I'm going in and out of consciousness. And I remember at that point, I was just kind of at that place where like I don't care whether I live or die. I just don't care. And in that moment, it's like a light came. You ever been driving your car down the road and the sunlight hits your car and you see like circles of light of the sun shining through your car? It was kind of like I seen a light like that. When I seen this light, the light didn't say anything. All I know is at that moment, um, I felt comfort that everything was gonna be all right. That I got a lot more to live for. Prior to this light coming around, I hadn't given up. I hadn't given up my life. I was on the floor crying, spitting out blood everywhere, and I was in and out of consciousness. And the only thing was in my head at that point was I wasn't about to call that police for help. I just wanted it all to be over with. And at that moment, that light came, and it wasn't words or anything. It was just a feeling of comfort. Like you got a lot more to live for. This ain't how your story end right here. And it's like that feeling that came over me. It gave me enough energy to continue on living. That was my first encounter, God, that I can recall of in a time like that. And at that moment in time, even though I had cursed him, even though I didn't pray to him no more, even though I didn't even talk to him no more at all, I bear witness to his grace on my life in that moment. That's all.